Good morning. Thank you for joining us for Chatbot Launchpad Workshop Session 3. So make your chatbot work for you. My name is Nick Fry. I'm the Manager of Business Development with Tourism Nova Scotia, and thank you for joining us today. For those of you not familiar with Tourism Nova Scotia, we work with communities and industry to attract visitors to the province and increase tourism revenues through experience and sector development, business coaching, marketing, and visitor services. One of the kind of ways we help industries to offer workshops like this and offer digital programming. So I'm really excited that you're here today. If you're joining and you haven't seen the first two, please go back and watch them. Post your Q&A at the bottom, and that is what will make it the most relevant to chat. So, as we go through, if there's anything that pops up, please put the questions in the Q&A at the bottom. Any links and resources we talk about, unless they're being used in the webinar, we'll share it after the fact, so you can focus on the webinar while you're here and then check out anything else after the fact. Our webinars will be recorded and closed captioning is available, and you can change that on your taskbar at the bottom. And I'm hoping you joined us today through Digiport. So Digiport is an area where it's a one-stop shop for, tourism businesses in the province, and it offers digital support. It's in partnership with Digital Nova Scotia, and you can receive, one-on-one interactive services. You can receive educational opportunities, webinars like this, program opportunities, and resources. So it's very valuable. It's no cost to you. It's not offered in any other province for tourism businesses. So it's a really great resource. So I hope you are using that. If not, you can check out the link there or just Google Digiport. So we're really excited to have Melissa Lloyd back today with Aigility Hub. In the first two sessions, we've built our knowledge on chatbots, and we're going to finish up the workshop component today. Melissa works with and supports small businesses in their journey towards AI implementation through workshops, keynotes, and personalized coaching. She's been doing a great job on here as well. We've had her out for digital days, and they've been exceptionally wonderful presentations that offer information in easy to understand way for people that aren't necessarily as comfortable or are new to AI. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Melissa to take over the screen, and thank you for joining us today and sharing your knowledge.
Hello. It seems that I can't start my video. So I'm hoping somebody can help me here. Here we go. I think that can
Your
everybody.
video's on. You're good.
Perfect. Okay, I hit a little bit of a roadblock there, but now I'm on. So it's so good to be here. Thank you, Nick, for such a lovely introduction. We are in our final phase of our chatbot launchpad. So this is number 3. I'm really delighted to see all of you who are back. We're going to finish off this chatbot today. And I want to kind of go into something that's really apparent when we start to learn things that are new. Uh, we can feel really overwhelmed. We're learning something new in terms of even technology. But I promise you this one thing is if I can do this, you can do this. And so as we move through this next part today, it's not about trying to take it all in and get everything figured out from the technical standpoint. But what I love about chatbots in general, and especially if you're new to them, just the very fact that we can go into an application like BotPress and drag and drop and create our experience so that we can then have a chatbot to help our customers at the end of it is pretty amazing. If again, it's something that I never would have dreamt that I would have been able to do. It used to be all code related. Now these applications are no code, low code. So this is a really nice entry point. As Nick mentioned as well, if you've got more questions at the end of this and you're like, oh, geez, I need to have a further conversation with Melissa, just book a one-on-one and we can kind of start to look at tailoring one for your business as well and just answering any of those questions. We are going to save question period for the end of this series today. Right at the end, we'll see how much time we have. So jot anything down, anything that's on your mind, because I am going to be kind of running through quite a few things today so that we can complete this whole part. Now, if you, again, just as a recap, when we went into Launchpad 1, we really talked about that whole conversational flow, how important it is to design that purpose-filled chatbot. Last week was number 2, and we started to actually go into BotPress. I just want to let you know, I don't have any affiliation with BotPress. I don't get paid for it. I just really love it as a tool, but we're going in there to actually start to build out our environment. So, well, let me share my screen. One of the things that I was hoping to share, because it was actually somebody asked last time, was like, okay, Melissa, it's BotPress. How much does this cost? And so if you can see my screen here, you're going to see the pricing and how it actually gets broken down. And for many of us, the free option is absolutely just fine. You know, you're looking at 5 bots, you're looking at 2,000 incoming messages per month. So that, you know, again, this chatbot is being designed to be putting it on your website. You can have 3 collaborators, so if there's somebody on your team. When we get into storage, table rows, this is all about storing certain parts of our conversation. If we know, linking in and building in that AI component, even though we are using AI to actually build the bot, we have a certain amount of money per credit, because without making this complicated, that nothing is free in this world. Things cost money, and everything that we put into a chatbot in AI is broken down in tokens. So we only have so many tokens we can use before someone gets charged some money. And what the great thing is it's very, very limited, like in terms of it's very minimal. So, you know, I think it's like what, you know, X amount of tokens are worth 0.005 in ChatGPT. So it's really reasonable. So it's not going to be this massive surprise. But this is why it's important as well to have a one-on-one conversation to talk about things like, you know, your web traffic and being able to kind of really kind of build a price structure around that. But then you can go into also your customization plans, and where you can add more things. So maybe you want more bots. Maybe you want a bot for every single page of your website. They're very tailored to different things. And that's more than 5, or maybe it's through your social streams. And then you can move into more of that team aspect where you've got a lot more bots, a lot more capacity, a lot more messages. You can see it's like 250,000 incoming messages and events. That's where I hope that you will get to. I hope all small businesses get to, where we've got so much traffic coming in. Our chatbots are working exceptionally well. So let's move in. I hope that answered some of your questions. If you've got any more, jot them down like I mentioned. We're going to go into BotPress, and I've got here, again, I already logged into mine. What you would go into is your bot. And inside of your bot, you're going to edit in Studio. That's where you go every time to kind of make any changes, and to start to kind of really create your bot landscape. So when you're in here, what you're going to see, again, just really kind of briefly, you'll have your start point where the chatbot, you're starting that conversation. We will then have an end node. We haven't completed it yet. We're going to do that right now. But we started last week with, this is a node. Great. We put in a card. It's, you know, that was like the intro. Hello, my name's Torin Timmy. I'm your digital assistant. This is where you can get really playful with your brand. I wanted to show you a single choice element inside your node, where it's like, okay, I'm going to direct the user. The user is going to go to tours, pricing, or other. And of course, this is how we start to navigate and I'm going to zoom in here so everybody can see. We have to start to direct some of these conversations so that there's a path, and we're building that path. We're like right in the background. And we also built our other, where we connected our knowledge base, which meant that a user that's asking a question can freely, openly ask a question, pull from our database, and be able to answer the question. So we start to get into a lot more intelligence as well. So let's kind of go through this. Let's start to add and finish some of the parts that we started. Where I'm going to start is we did tours. So when we clicked on tours and we said, okay, thanks, here are available tours, we created like a carousel, which would take us through our products. And that was something that I just wanted to show you with the capacity of what it can do. This tool can do a lot. So we're doing something very basic today. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that, okay, after they look at their carousel, where do we take them? Well, we're going to create a new node. And that new node, again, you can just right click, or you can, right click, and then you can click standard node. And that creates the next part of your conversation. So I'm going to try to move some stuff over here. I'm going to kind of zoom in as well. All right, we've got our standard node. This is our new node. And what we're going to call it this time is we are going to, once somebody goes through the 4 cards, now we want to ask them if there's anything else, because maybe they've gone through, maybe they've connected to our website through that. So this time my node is going to be called, and remembering, actually being able to kind of say what your node is really important, because it just helps us to keep things organized. So ask any questions. Oh, I hear somebody's unmuted. If you want to kind of get in and unmute yourself or mute yourself, that would be great, just so everybody can hear this okay. So we've got this new node. After they've looked through the cards, I want my bot to just, ask, can I help with anything else? So we're going to add a card. And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to add a card that is a single choice, because I'm going to give them a choice. Do they want to answer it? Do they want any more information? Yes or no. So we would come in here where we have all kinds of options. And again, I want to really keep this really simple. I'm going to use my single choice. I can drag and drop, or I can click and add a card from there. And the single choice, like I said, it gives us an opportunity to direct them in a way, do you want me to help you with anything else? So this is what my question would be. Can I help you with anything else? And then I have to give them the choices, because of course they don't have the choice right now. And so my choices are going to be, okay, yes, please. Let's create the choice where we start to write this in, and then I'll say, yes, please. And again, this just gives you some ideas of how it can work, or no, thank you. So this is going to direct the user. I'm not using a knowledge base. So just so you know, that little icon that has like a book, it means the knowledge base is engaged. We don't want the knowledge base to be engaged because, well, it doesn't need to use the knowledge base. We are setting it up as a single choice. And one thing that when you're in here, as soon as you click on single choice, it's going to give you all these kind of pieces on the right hand side. Really, the only thing that I need to worry about right now is my question that I'm asking, my choices, and I don't want it to be single choice. I actually want it to become a Boolean. Now people go, oh my gosh, Melissa, that's taking it too far. What do you mean? Inside some of these values, we want to kind of start to have some intelligence based on which paths people are taking, and we need to be able to store it as well. So a Boolean, it extracts binary value. And what that means is it really just means is it a yes, a no, is it true or false, agree, disagree? It's almost just like it's 2 variables. So I'm just going to set it up as that. If you don't have to get too fixated on the values, but that starts to, you can store numbers, you can, extract and put in email addresses. So they're really, really helpful. And if you ever get stuck and you're just like, I don't even know what to do in this department, you can go to BotPress on YouTube. And I just wanted to show you that, look at all the information. They break it down in super simple bits. And I think this is one of the pluses to BotPress, is that they're able to really kind of go in and help you on your bot, just in terms of building a chat bot. They help you on that journey. So never forget that BotPress has a lot of, like, if you want to ask what is a Boolean, you're no doubt it will be in here, or how do I set up my question? Know that you have that support. So let's go back here. Okay, how many did I pray? There we go. So we kind of created this, we've created this new node. And what's really important, this is not going to talk, like typetors after this happens, it's not going to talk to my new node unless I connect it. So you see, every single time we have to be able to connect it. Now we can as well move things up and down. This is the great thing. This is like almost like having a sketch pad and trying to figure out where things fit. So you're not going to break anything. Go in, and I always say just play and just then be able to test. So in order to test your chatbot as you go through, if you've forgotten, which is absolutely understandable, we know as long as these are all set up, I'm going to be able to go through this process. So let me show what I mean. So I go hello, and don't worry about timing, because you're going to like, oh my goodness, everything comes so quickly through. we can set those parameters as well differently. So this time I want to go on tours because I know I've set that up. You're going to start to see that it already brought you, it went from here into ask any questions. Can I help you with anything else? So this is where we want to go, okay, we need to be able to direct again the customer to what, what else do you need help with? Now, one thing would be is we set up our knowledge base here at the bottom. So what if somebody says yes? And you're like, okay, I've got to actually be able to start to be able to create a link to what that knowledge base is. I want people to be able to ask an open question and in my knowledge base, because that's kind of expanding that conversation. So the order to do that, I have to drag this down into my knowledge base. And this is really important when you're designing a conversation. You can't just have things that are just open-ended and they don't go anywhere, because that means your user is going to get to a certain point and then it's just going to stop the conversation. So you have to know that your lines, like these pieces, go into other parts. So now what will happen is it will feed into this knowledge base. So let's just say, yes. Let's see, sure. What would you like to know? And then I would start asking me a question and it's pulling from this knowledge base. So we know that successfully worked. Now, what if somebody says no? Like, no, I don't need anything more. Thank you very much. You told me all of my cards. I've linked to your website. It's perfect. That specific spot. What I would do is I would create another node. So you're starting to see that you're being able to map this whole question, this whole piece. Now in this node, what I'm going to call it is I'm just going to say exit message. They don't want any more information. And in fact, if you can see, I have to keep moving things because there's my end conversation. We are up in no. The exit message is going to be, so I go back to, I get a card. This time I just want to say goodbye, like thanks so much for being here, something to that effect. Let me copy some words so I can keep this in. I would put a text card. The text card, you then put in your message right here on the right-hand side. And this says message to send. So we send the message of, okay, thank you. If you've got any more questions in future, I'd be happy to help. Happy cycling. So what I've done is, this is, again, a tour company, a bike tour company. I'm using some verbiage around bike companies. You can even put little emojis that create, again, just kind of that added piece. So let's just see how that works. Remember, you have to attach your nodes. And now look, I've got this we're starting to build this chatbot out. It's starting to get a little bit bigger. Again, I can move it around. I just want to say, hello. Oh, let me just refresh this. You'll have to refresh. There's a refresh button here as well. Let's go through this process. I'm going to go through tours. Great. I don't really need any more help. Thank you. You've helped me enough. Okay, thank you. If you have any more questions in future, I'd be happy to help. Happy cycling. So it's pick that up. Now, it's very important that you absolutely click end so that it actually ends that piece. Everything has to kind of come to an end. So now we've got that really lovely flow. Again, we can use more natural language processing. We're doing something very simple today. I want to now move into the last piece because guess what? We haven't done anything to do with pricing. And I do want to show you another part with regards to what you can do just as another opportunity. So I want to go into standard node. This time, I have different pricing based on the amount of people that are going to be going on these tours. So what I need to do is I need to think about how do I design that communication? How do I get people to start to say how many people are in their groups? So I've created another standard node. And this time I'm just going to call this pricing group size. So we rename our node. And this time I'm going to drag a number or I'm going to add a card. So I can drag it or I can just add it here. And I'm going to ask a question of, how big is the group that you're traveling with? So on the right-hand side, so once I click on that text card, I can write in my question. How big of a group are you traveling with? Because I want to start to bring more intelligence into this as well. Now, what we're going to do is Actually, what I realize is I'm going to say what type of group size are we? I need to grab another. I need to bring in the number uh, information, and I'm going to actually delete. I'm not trying to mess around here, but how big of a group are you? You can actually bypass so that you can write your question right in here instead of having the text card. Just so you know, sometimes we can keep it even tighter depending on which cards we're using. So I'm going to use this one. What's really important here is I'm asking what the number is. So I need to create a variable. And what that means is if I can create a variable and say the group variable for this is group size. So you're going to see here, it starts to actually store our information in our chatbot so that we can go in and we can get intelligence from it as well. It starts to like be able to recall. And so you're going to see in my next node that I design, oh, I can pull up group size and it's going to all interlink. Now, if this doesn't make sense, again, happy to go through this a little bit more in detail, but I do want to move through this chatbot. So what we've got is how big of a group are you traveling with? I've got, okay, I've stored this in my results. And now what we need to do is we need to say, well, how am I breaking this down? I need to break it down into 3 expressions because I have 3 prices based on different people. So I'm bringing these expression cards over and I'm going to edit these now to be basically, if a group size is less than 4, so I would click on my first expression, we go, if a group size is less than 4, we would set that up. And that means whoever, if they end up saying, I only have 2 people, and this is going to start to make sense when I build this, then they move on to a different branch. Because again, you're trying to direct all this conversation. And yes, artificial intelligence can do some of this. Again, there's a little bit more massaging around the chatbot when using artificial intelligence, but we also don't want it to kind of, if you've not trained your model on your data, then you don't want to just kind of leave it to anything, like it could say anything. So the next expression is going to be, I'm going to say this one is, again, we're going to label it up here. If the group size is more than 5, but less than 10. And so we know that text went in, which is great. We're going to click the third one. And I'm going to say if this one is, if the group size is more than 10. So maybe you have different pricing structures, or maybe you're not using it as pricing structures, but you can see how, oh, maybe I can actually direct the user, or I'm asking questions in a different way as you design your chatbot. So we've got these 3 different groups. I want to make sure that we connect our welcome and our pricing, because again, it's not going to work if I don't pull this. Okay, so we always have to make sure we've connected. Now, I know these start to get a little bit confusing, these lines, but we can also delete them at any point just to make sure that they're in the right spot by just pressing that X. Again, it's drag and drop. It's very, very simple as you move through this. So we have this situation. We've kind of directed them. We need to create a new node. This node is going to be pricing less than 4 because I've just said, okay, if they select it's only 2 people, then I need to make sure that they go to the right place. And this is pricing less than 4. Now, what we will use is we'll use a text card because I just want to allow, I want to kind of, number one, I want to reinforce that I'm listening as a chatbot. So you would go in and you would put a text card. And if you remember, I saved a variable. And the variable, if I put that variable in, which if I go back here, my variable is in here. I just need to make sure if I put in an @ sign, and you can just put @ and be able to, whatever your variable, it will come up, but it's going to reinforce, oh, perfect, your group size is 2 or your group size is 16. It's almost like it just listened, which is a really cool thing. Now we're going to put another text card because it's listened. It said, okay, perfect, your group size is 2. So then I'm going to put my information. So for a group of that size, adults are 175, kids are this price. So I'm gonna go through this and I'm gonna show exactly what we just did. The last two things we'll do is we'll make sure we would take our group size of 4, under 4, and we would connect it to that node. Now, in this situation, we don't want to end this node right yet because we always want to move our conversation forward. So this is where we would put in an expression, which means it's all okay for whatever they put in, we want to move them into the next category, like into our next part of our conversation. So let's just see how this is working so that you can kind of get a better understanding of this. And I realize that my screen is getting smaller and smaller, so just bear with me while I can. Why is that not going back in? Okay, just a second here. Refresh our conversation. This time I'm going to be picking the pricing area. Okay, let's go through pricing. How big is your group that you're traveling with? Well, I didn't set up all the other ones, so I'm going to have to say 1 to 4. Maybe I'm just going to say 3 this time. Let's see what happens. Perfect. Your group size is 3. Do you see how that variable picked up that information for a group that size? And then it tells me what my piece is. So what I need to do now is I need to actually do this for each one. So I'm going to go in and you can actually copy this and then you can paste it again by right clicking. And you can do it this way and then you can modify, or you can set it up as a new node every time. Okay, so don't feel like, again, if you're like, no, I need to go through this methodically. So this time we're going to go into the group size that is the second one here. Okay, so the group size that is more than 5, but it's less than 10. So I'm going to call this, remember, we always rename our node. I'm going to call this pricing between 5 and 10. I'm going to keep this text card because I want to verify that I know the answer. I'm listening. But we know that that information is going to be different on this text card because, of course, I've got between 5 and 10 people. I have a different pricing structure. So I would copy and paste what I'm going to put in for that. This time it's $145 instead of $175. So, and then kids are 65 instead of 85. So I highly recommend everybody go on this tour company. No, even though it's fictitious. So we've got that second one set up. Now we're going to make a third one. And I'm just not sure why this is not going in. Usually it kind of flicks in and out. I'm not sure. And I don't want to redo anything here today. So we'll just kind of, as long as you can see where I'm at, I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste another node. Like I said, you can do it just all from over here, create new ones. This time, what we're doing is our third node is more than 10 people. And guess what? With this company, it's actually customized pricing. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to keep this text card because we want to verify that it's more than 10. And for our message, it's going to be a little bit different. So maybe what you end up doing is you go, okay, this time, because it's customized, please reach out to us and we can give you a special rate. Email, and then you can put your details in and your phone. So what you're starting to see here is a process where we're starting to link our pricing group size into different channels depending on what our customers select. So here we go. So we're linking them all. Everything's linked. It should work. And it's always going to move us to the other and next part, which, what's that next part going to be? Well, we're going to keep it really, really simple today. Maybe it's like, I want to kind of link them, do they have any more questions? So you can we've already created ask any questions. See, we've done that. So this is where we can be really smart when we start to design really simple conversations, because you can see how it can kind of get a little bit crazy in terms of the amount of boxes that we have, but we want to be as efficient as possible. So we're going to take our node and we're going to kind of bring it up to ask any questions, because what's going to happen next is I'm going to show you. We got to do each one. That's why those lines look a little bit crazy, but don't worry. We are going to make sure that we can follow it. We're going to drag it and put it to ask any questions. So what I'm interested in now is being able to go in and see where we're at in this process. Let's do it again and make sure that everything works. All right, here we go. We're going into pricing. How big of a group you're traveling with? I'm going to say 16 people. I'm going to take, actually, how many people's in this group? 13. We're all going on a bike tour this weekend. For a group that size, so there was an issue. So it didn't pick up. What did I not do? So if a group size is more than 10, that's true. Then we have to go into our pricing. And this is where we can problem solve. I'm going to have a load of problem solving skills at this minute because I got to keep moving through. But I would go back through each one and I would look at how it was set up. And again, I will go back if I've got some time at the end. But again, we're just trying to be able to set these different branches up. So now somebody asked last time as well, well, what happens if the chatbot doesn't answer correctly? So just even like we did now, like I know there's something that I didn't click in here. So what I want to show you is that if something's in the knowledge base and they can't answer it, we actually have to design the conversation so the chatbot can say, oh, I actually, sorry, I don't know the answer to that. So this AI knowledge base, when we click on other, and I will show you here, if we go, hello, again, this is a lot of trial. You're probably kind of getting to sense that you got to go back and forth a lot. So if I click other, sure, what do you want to know? So what if I want to say like, gobbledygook, it's not going to, sure, what would you like to know? It's going to come back on itself. We need to set up a new card that can handle the fact that maybe it doesn't understand something. So what we would do is we would go into creating another card in here. And this card is going to be a text card. And one of the things that chatbots are really good at as you design your conversations is being able to know that, okay, if the information that is coming from your knowledge base is not correct. So what I would do, just so you know, or actually, sorry, here, let's go back. Let's create an expression. If it doesn't understand what's in my knowledge base, and I want to put, there is some pieces that you can copy and paste in to be able to say the knowledge was not correct. They have to go down this route. And what I'm showing you on the right-hand side, the label, is I put this piece of information, and there's some key pieces of information that you can get from BotPress that will help you get your bot to understand if something's not correct, what you need to put in place to kind of get it to give the right response. So in this case, it's this piece of code. Now, AI does it all for you. You just need to have that first piece. So you go, okay, well, you know what? If I'm in my knowledge base and it doesn't answer something correctly, I need to guide them in that process of, I want to create another standard node. This is the chatbot or the knowledge base does not know. And again, this, if this is feeling like, oh my goodness, this is so much, it's like breaking every single piece down. This is exactly what this is all about in terms of designing a chatbot. It's getting us to think every little tiny nuance as we move through this conversation. So then we would link and we would create a text box. So let's put the card in. Here we go. The text, and the text this time is going to be, maybe it's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. So we would go back and we write our message in. I am sorry, I do not understand. So we would connect from the I don't understand to this particular chatbot or to this particular node. And then we would want to recontinue after it says I don't understand, or maybe, write something in differently, then I would reconnect it again to the knowledge base because we want everything to kind of go in cycles. So I've got a chatbot here. I've designed something, a structure. We know that it's a pretty robust structure. It could be way bigger and it could have a lot more components. But next I want to really kind of go into being able to design that chatbot, because right now if I publish this, and you always have to publish it, if you want it to be able to be on your website, you have to hit the publish button. But what I do is I click publish. And again, I'd have to work through some of the little nitty-gritties of, some things that are saying they're not going down the right path. Again, I wish I had lots of time today to be able to go through every piece. So it's published. So now I want to share. I want to find my chatbot. Oh, there's Touring Timmy. Now I can start to see how this is going to work and look on my website. So you can see, okay, the little Touring Timmy's thinking. It can take you through that whole process again. So we can whatever option we want to pick, we can kind of go in and ask those questions. But what I realize is, wow, it doesn't really look like my brand at all. So I want to be able to go in and I want to change some of these pieces so that it looks like my brand. So after I go in, I do all these parts, we want to go back, and one of the ways we go back to design our chatbot is by clicking on this little bot press back to dashboard. And we're going to see a series of different places, which again, can seem overwhelming if you don't know what they are. But all I would say is we're going to go into integrations. Integrations is where we start to get some understanding of how we can design how the front face of our chatbot looks. So for this particular one, I would go in and I would say, okay, my bot name is Touring Timmy. And because remember, if we go back over here, oh, you'll just have like this rant, like just a really simplified message. It won't be anything to do with your brand. So I've already changed that. So that's what's coming up. And then I would say, maybe I want a little byline for my company. Maybe you've got a strap line for your business. And one of the things that you could also add in some more information. But one of the things that I'm not doing inside of here is I'm not changing my brand colors and kind of really kind of getting into that part. So I would go into styler.botpress.app. That's what we put in, styler.botpress.app. This is your, basics of what it's going to basically pull. And we can go in here and we can start to change all the colors based on what our company colors are. Now, you will probably have refined numbers. You can just copy and paste in here, and you can play with everything from your bot avatar, your bot bubble color. You can go in and you can change everything. So just let me do something really simple here. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. That's really not very attractive. We can play with this. Another thing that we can play with is, you'll notice that there's always like stylized icons or little things that will sit, for your logo, your fave. It looks like a favicon. In order to do that, you would want to be able to paste your icon in your website, so in maybe your media section, and you would take the actual URL of what that is, and I will show you actually, because I've just put it into my Doodle Breaks website for you just to show you today. You would go into your media, and now this is WordPress. It doesn't matter in terms of if you're working with Wix, any other type of platform, you can go into a media section. I've actually added in this wheel. So I would click on it and I would go, oh, copy this. I need this URL, because obviously I'm going back here. It wants the URL, and I would paste it in this space. Now you can't see it right now, but it will be there, just so you know. Now, once you have all these little pieces all tailored down to what your business is like, you want to go in and say get style sheet URL. And what's important about this is it's going to show you your actual URL that you're going to copy and put it back into BotPress so that visually it looks the way that you want it to look. So I realize my bot is really not attractive right now, but we're just kind of going with the flow here. So I would click copy, and we will go back into our BotPress area where we'll see style sheet URL. That's what it's actually called, is a style sheet. And so I would paste it back in here. And that way I know that I have something for BotPress to say, I've actually been able to design my bot. And let's see if it actually changes. I'm going to refresh my page, okay? Let's see here. Oh, I've got to save this. Don't forget to save your configurations. I've got smaller windows here. Here we go. So I'm going to refresh. Oh, look, we go. We've got green. I didn't change these other buttons. So now you start to see that your your branding is coming through. This actual favicon will not come through until we actually put it on our website. So that is the next piece of integrating your chatbot into your website. Oh my gosh, what do we do? How do we even, how do we go about this? We go about this in a way that's actually, it's not hard. That's what I love, is that BotPress is not hard. So if we go into pre-configured, so we're still in the same spot, you're going to see that there is code. And this is the hardest, like this is one of the harder parts, but it's not hard because I'm going to show you how to move through it really simply. You're going to copy this because that's what we would need to copy to then put it into our website. Now, every website is different, so you might have to go into Google and say, show me how to put my BotPress code in my Wix website or my Shopify website, whatever platform you have. And there'll be there'll be videos on YouTube, because again, it really doesn't take much time. And I'm going to show you what I mean. It doesn't take much time. I've copied my code. I'm going to go into my back end of my website. So remember, I just am using this company, or just Doodle Breaks right now. And so I want to go into plugins. This is the fastest way for me to show you how to get it into your site, because one of the things is, if we don't know code, which guess what? I never started knowing code. I want to make sure I can keep it as simple as possible. So I would go into my plugins and I would look for an actual plugin that will help me with this. So in this case, I'm going to look for WP Code. Now, just so you know, I've already got this installed. And it's actually, it's called Code Snippets. So let's just do Code Snippets, because yours may not even, you may not even need to do this, but I want to show you for at least snip is. What am I doing it? Oh, I spelt it wrong. I want to see if it's Code Snippets. So I actually have this, when I install this and I just click on whatever the actual plugin is, it will bring it into your menu bar right here. So I see Code Snippets right here. So I open Code Snippets and I go, well, I have a snippet from BotPress. It's a piece of code. I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to go add new. And you can go add your own custom code. And all I'm doing from here, this is the hardest part. And I know that every person's website, if you have a web developer, they'll put it in very quickly. I'm showing you that, okay, you might have to download a plugin for your website. And so you go to your plugin store, and you may have to just go in and find where you add a new piece of code. But this is how simple it can be, is that I have a spot here that I can put my code. So making sure that I copied it properly, because I want to make sure that I have the right code. So I would come back into integrations in BotPress, go to pre-configured, I copy the code, and then I would go back in and I would just paste it. And what happens is that means it's in my website. That's actually here. It's all in. So I go save snippet. It's in there, and let's just see if it's in there. So I would refresh my page. Oh, is everything going to happen to me today where it's not like doing what it's supposed to do? Let me see here. Copy. Let's go. What is happening? Update. No, it doesn't usually take very much, believe me. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to come back to that part as well, because like I said, it's inside your space where it's in code. For me, it's Code Snippets. I've got to go back to see why it's actually being problematic. I'm going to delete this so that I make sure that it's not going to pull this off of my website. It will usually take you, if you're new to this, it could take you 10 minutes to watch a video, and then you would go in and find where that fits in the space, as long as you know where you get your piece of code from your bot press. And that, like I said, is always in your integrations, is always in your configured, and you're able to do the embedded code right here. As long as you can put it into your website that way, that's what you need to know. So that's another thing that we have to kind of troubleshoot in a minute. So what we've just done now is we've been able to implement, we've been able to finish off our chatbot. So what we'll have is we'll go into our chatbot. We'll see that we've got at least a conversational flow. Let's just take a moment here. It's going to open up again. You're probably learning from this process as well that you need to have some patience. That's a hard one for most of us. I mean, honestly, sometimes I whip through this and it just is like boom, 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 so easy to do. But you've just got to be able to kind of troubleshoot some of these processes, and something that could be as simple as you've not clicked on something. In this case, I feel like, you know what? I put single choice. I should have had raw input for that. Single choice, I'm not asking for a single choice. I would just want it to listen to whatever the raw input is of what people are choosing. So once we have our conversation designed, we've said, okay, we're going to go in and we're going to, create the brand of it. Then we're going to put it into our website. I now want to kind of move over to saying, well, people then think, well, then it's done. And just remembering that you have to publish it. There's a whole bunch of analytics that you can find. And this is not a said and done exercise. Once you've designed this chatbot, you've got to be able to go back in and see where it's getting stuck, where people are asking questions. Maybe the chatbot is faltering. So again, being a little bit, flexible with going back and forth and knowing, okay, what, how am I learning from this experience? How is my chatbot doing? And we can go into things like analytics. I mean, obviously, I have not really used this chatbot, so we're looking at the analytics and how, much people are using this. It can give us a whole bunch of very unique information. We can even go into conversations and we can actually see every conversation. We can see all the conversations if it's getting stuck and it's not going further, or maybe they've asked a question that we never even intended, or we never even knew that our customers were wanting. So we can build that in our knowledge base. So you're starting to see how powerful this whole process can be, but it does take work just in terms of setting it up, being able to move through that experience, and then monitoring it so that it really becomes something that's learning from all the content and the data as well. So I want to, I'm going to probably close this part of it off. There is some things, if you're like, well, that's a really basic bot, Melissa, and yeah, I know there's a couple issues with my bot. I will go back and try to fix it. To troubleshoot this chatbot, we were in the Launchpad third session, and we started to put all this information together. It was acting up on me. I want to show you what I did wrong. And the first thing, and this is what's really important, is you go back and you keep testing it at different parts. But what you're going to see is I said group size here. So before, I actually had it on raw input. I had it on raw input. I'm wanting it to capture the number. So what the first thing is I would have to say is it has to be the number, so that it can actually be able to take that information from the user. The second thing that I've noticed, what has actually happened, I've actually created another node in here, is that I have these 3 areas that I want the chatbot to listen to and kind of redirect. So the first thing I see is, oh, if the group size is less than 4. Now, what normally happens is that I don't want that condition to be true. I actually want it to create code to be able to help me with this process. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab another expression card, because there's something wrong with that. I know that there's something wrong because, well, it's not creating any code. And if I copy and paste this text and I go into my new expression, when I put this in and I hit enter, you're going to see it created its own piece of code. And that's what I love is AI can help us with that process. So let's keep that card because that's actually what it's supposed to do. Let's make sure that the second one, yep, that one created it just fine in terms of a condition. And oh, that one didn't work. So let me just try this again. I'm just going to kind of keep it really clean. I'm going to create another expression. Okay, if the group size is more than 10, let's put it into the new card. Or the new card. I pressed enter. Oh, and then it created a little piece of code. So let me go delete the old one. So here we go. We'll just double check. That one's correct, that one's correct, and that one is correct. So that's the first part of being able to deal with this node. Now, what I've realized when I've looked in here, well, number one, I don't even have this connected, so we kind of need to connect that. I clicked on my text card, and I've got this variable, which is really important because we want to reiterate whatever the person said, then it will remember and it will reiterate to say that we heard it correctly. That is your variable. It's come up properly. Great. The text card's proper, tells the information, it moves them on to the next part. Let's go and see what the same thing is. Okay, so there's an error. Have you noticed it? It's the fact that the variable is not sitting in here. So we want to put, if you just click at, it will pick it up on its own. And there we go. So that looks better. That looks better. That looks better. Fantastic. Oh, now let's go down to the next thing. We are going into group size 10. Make sure it's connected. Oh, I don't even have the full variable in there. It just, for whatever reason. So let's go back in and make sure that we put it in. And then the text that's going to come up is that. And that is great. That's always. So we've just kind of gone in and we've looked at little pieces that maybe weren't done correctly or something has shifted. And what I want to do is I want to try this. And I just want to make sure that it's in fact working. So we press play. How big is your group? Let's try 2 people first. See if it's... Okay, hang on a second. Let's go into pricing. How many people in your group? Yeah, perfect. Your group size is 2, and that is the cost, and then it moves you into the next category. Okay, so that works. Fantastic. Let's try the next one. Let's try the other ones. Okay, I'm going to go into pricing. How big of a group are you this time? I'm 7 people. Perfect. Your group is 7. For a group that size, there we go. Now we're going to be trying it again where I'm going to, again, go hello. Pricing. And then remember, I was saying, okay, we'll take all 12 of us on this bike tour. We're over 10. Perfect. Your group size is 12. That's wonderful. So that way, now we know we've mitigated whatever's happened because I didn't actually complete it correctly. You can now go in and this will be now functioning. And then it will be moved on to that next question part. I hope that was helpful. Next part is going into the back end of taking our, once we publish our bot, how do we put it into our website? Every website is slightly different, but what we can do is I'm going to show you how to go into WordPress specifically. So let's just publish this. It's going to take a moment. It's published. I'm going to share. Here's our Touring Timmy. Fantastic Touring Timmy. I want to go back into my dashboard. As you can see, your windows start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Be careful. It kind of gets confusing. And we're going to go into integrations and we're going to go into pre-configured. That's where you get your code. It's right there. Okay. Now, in terms of showing instructions, just so you know, it actually gives you instructions in terms of how to do this for your own website as well. Some of the stuff is, if it's code related, you can actually go into Google and ask the question, how do I put it into Shopify or Wix or another another type of web application, and you'll be able to see a video. But for today, we are going to be going into this site. We are going to, I mentioned that, and I'm going to delete this so I can kind of get rid of anything that I did before. I want to trash this completely. We're going to totally trash this. Thank you very much. We want this empty. Trash. I went into my plugin store and I went in to find code snippet. Now, if you don't have something like this, you would go in to add a new plugin, click on add a new plugin, and you would go and find if you're in WordPress, you would go to code snippet. Here we go. And that's what you're looking for. Now, mine is active. You would activate yours. And then you would go, once you've got this plugin put in, you would go in and go to code snippet, click on, oops, that went really quick, header and footer. And you need to put your code in the header area. So I'm going to go back into BotPress. I'm going to copy my code. And then you're going to go into your head and footer and you're just going to paste it. That's all you're going to do. You're not doing anything. You're not touching any code. This is the most amount of code. And you're going to go save. And when we go now into the home page, because I actually put it onto the home page, we are going to refresh my page. And see, there's the little spoke, the bicycle picture. There's my Touring Timmy. Oh, hello, Touring Timmy. Fantastic. And we start to see this chatbot working. So I'm so glad that we made sure that this works, because honestly, I had a little off technical day. So thank you for your patience. I appreciate you all very much. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me on one-on-one. I am so happy to help you with this chatbot journey, because it is honestly, it can do amazing things. Have a great day.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us for this 3-part series, and we'll definitely make sure we share out after the fact to tie up some of those loose ends, and just kind of goes to show you that that's how you work through these new technologies. So I'm really excited. I think that that was kind of the first webinar I've seen where we really dove into and kind of understood how things work. So that's really exciting. And as we come up on the summer season, as I look out the window, I do see the sun shining and getting ready to welcome our visitors. And now it's time for some spring tune-up. So what we're going to do is look at over the next 3 weeks in May 9th, 16th, and 23rd. We have social media coming in to look at our websites, talking about crafting web content that shines, and SEO strategies for tourism websites. So we get asked about this stuff a lot, and oftentimes, we have a lot of resources available, but it's nice to pull it together and present it in updated, modern format. So I hope you can join us. And if you have any questions on those, give us an email. Now, our TDAP assistance program for communities is open until May 1st at 4. We work with municipalities, regional marketing organizations, and community tourism organizations that are eligible for up to $15,000 in digital services to work with a qualified digital expert to help bridge the digital gap and improve your online marketing and services to attract visitors to your area and encourage spending. So check that out. Links on the screen. We're available to talk about it if you have any questions as well. The Radiate program also opened up, and it's open until Wednesday, May 22nd at 4. And that is an opportunity where applicants can develop and market up to 2 fall or winter tourism packages, trying to expand the season. Those packages would appeal to local maritime travelers, and you'll be supported through this program through targeted market research, coaching, and tools, featuring any outcomes on novascotia.com landing page, and inclusion in our seasonal digital marketing campaign. So it's really positive. So if you have any questions on that, check out the Radiate program. Really exciting opportunities, May 22nd at 4. And as always, give us an email, tnsbusiness@novascotia.ca, if you have any feedback or any ideas for future webinars. Anything that we have, all the programs I just talked about, you can find it all on tourismns.ca. We also share it out in our news and resources section. So sign up for that, and we will email it directly. We have our consumer website, novascotia.com, where we share all of our, all of our call to action is to send people to novascotia.com. We are on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Tourism NS, and you can find us on LinkedIn at Tourism Nova Scotia. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you have a great day.